artists, creatives, designers, welcome to Dream Aloud Art. It's so good having you, viewers. Thank you, thank you. And thank you for joining us today with our very special guest, Tetra Elemental, aka Corey. I will be calling him Corey, okay? Don't get
you can call me Corey, that's fine.
Okay, all right. So if you're just coming through and you're just browsing, you're just wondering, hey, what in the world are these two people talking about? Go ahead and follow me at DreamAloud Art, and go ahead and follow Tetra Elemental, okay? Go ahead and follow him. His tag is in the pinned comment below. And after you follow me, make sure you subscribe. The link is in my bio on YouTube, okay? So you can see these full interviews, y'all, okay? IGTV only holds 15 minutes, and you know these interviews are not no 15 minutes. It goes far beyond that, all right? So we appreciate you once again. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. All right, so Corey, aka Tetra Elemental, okay? Who is Corey? This is probably the most layered, it could be very layered question for most of my interviewees, but for the people who do not know you at all, and this is like their first time seeing you, what do you do? Okay, what do you do? What is your passion? What do you want people to know? A summary as far as who you are.
Sure. I guess to put it simply, I'm a super nerdy guy, but also eclectic. You know, I'm into all kinds of things. I grew up out in the country, so I like to be out in nature and all that good stuff. Really into music. I listen to all kinds of, jazz and funk and electronic music. But recently my biggest passion has been 3D printing. And that kind of came from, so I'm a software developer, and doing work stuff is usually not the most fun execution of those skills. And so I was looking for ways to kind of use those talents for something more fun and creative. And so I was getting into some kind of DIY electronics type stuff. I was making some cool little light toys using, programmable LEDs. I made like an infinity mirror, if you ever seen one of those.
No.
And from that, I had, we'll talk about that later. But from that, I had a need for like custom parts for my little contraptions and toys I was making. And so I was trying to get access to a 3D printer, and I tried the library here in Cincinnati because they have a little bit of a maker space, and they got a 3D printer.
Okay.
And that was troubling. I mean, they had you could use it for 2 or 4 hour slots, which is not long enough to 3D print something substantial. There's a maker space here in Cincinnati too, aside from the library, and it was just really hard to get my foot in the door there. I mean, they're really cliquey and kind of exclusive, and there's a membership fee and all that stuff. So long story short, I got frustrated and just impatient. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to splurge. I'm just going to buy myself a 3D printer, help equip myself to create whatever I might need. And from there, it just blossomed into a whole thing because, there's a lot of cool stuff I can make that don't necessarily involve, DIY electronics and all that. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Okay, so yes, of course we have questions. Okay, I have a ton of questions, and of course I'm sure our viewers are going to pose some questions too. Okay, all right. So given that is the nutshell of what is current, we'll say mostly with you. Let's go rewind a little bit, okay? And let's take it back. I like to take it back as far as these introductions to who you are, and learn a little bit more about you, and then what you do as far as 3D printing is concerned. When was the earliest time that your interest was gauged into creativity, period? When was that for you?
Honestly, art class in grade school, middle school, I've always been really into it. I've always loved it. Pretty good at, sketching, doodling. Always loved it, and have a lot of artist friends around me who are, taking things to another level, and
right.
Kind of always just had in my head that, I have a very kind of logical kind of mindset, not necessarily the most creative as far as fine art and, I don't know, like writing and stuff, but always been thinking about it and always just had a huge appreciation for it. And so I kind of feel like I just never found my medium up until the last few years. But I've always thought about it a lot, and I think that's half the battle. I think a lot of people can just think about things and really analyze what they see and what the art that they consume, and then maybe it will be years down the road that you finally decide to dive in, but just having the appreciation and consuming it, I think is takes you a long way.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I wholeheartedly agree. And I'm, I can sit here and vibe on this subject for days, but I believe that everyone's a creative. It's just finding that area that you're most passionate about, or areas that you're very passionate about, and just going in that direction, you know. But yeah, I think there's a lot of joy that is found in creating whatever it is. You know, something
Right.
that you're talking about, okay, maybe not being so engaged in the fine arts, traditional classical kind of things. You know, I wasn't so much into that myself, but you know, just having an appreciation for it, okay, sure. But of course, you know, finding what works best for you. And as you had mentioned, in the last couple of years it had blossomed for you as far as the 3D printing is concerned. So let me rewind a little bit again, because I was trying to gather everything that you were saying as far as summarizing you. Where
Mhm.
did the 3D printing come into play as far as like being interested in that? It was before, of course, the past couple of years, or how long have you had your own 3D printer? Like, where did the interest come in that
Um,
as far as?
so the first time I ever even got to mess with 3D printer was actually like, I want to say it was about 8 years ago now, and that was when they were really starting to explode with having affordable consumer grade machines that you could get for less than $1,000.
Mm,
And I was working at this little startup company. I was a day one employee, and I set up their website and everything. And what they were doing was buying trucks from Amazon, and it was all return items.
mm,
And they'd get it at a fraction of the price, and then they would go through each item and put it on their online auction website, which I put together. And so on the day to day, a lot of times I'd go through some of these items, especially some of the more, high tech ones like just printers and speakers and TVs and stuff. And I'd be the one to try and test it out, see what's wrong with it, why did they return it. And we got a 3D printer at one point, and I was like, oh, this looks like a fun toy. Let me test this for about 5 hours and see how well it works and
right,
whatnot. And printed a couple little doodads with that, and I was like, man, this is a lot of fun. But it was like 5 years after that. I just had it in the back of my head, like, that was a fun thing. Maybe someday I can get one, and then
mm,
yeah, and then we're back to where I was dabbling in electronics, making my own stuff, and
right,
started just wanting to look into getting one for myself.
yeah, okay.
And that
Well,
was about 3 years ago
you
that
had
I
mentioned
got
due date.
one.
Okay, just little things that you print out. So what does someone print out? What is the first thing that you wanted to try to print? Like I think about, for me, I'm like my mind goes in so many places, but what was the first thing that you wanted to print?
Um, Honestly, the first, like, there's just so much you can do. It's hard to even like pick a place to start. But
Right.
back then when I was testing that one for work, I was just going on the website, and they just had all these designs that people upload that you can just download for free. And I don't
Mm,
know, I just scrolled for a while. I picked one, and it was one of those little statues. Well, the ones in real life are not little; they're huge. But on Easter Island, it's like these big
yes.
stone heads sticking out of the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my very first print. 8 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay. All
Mhm.
right. I saw something else in, well, I guess, well, you said you've had it for a couple of years, so I'm assuming that the examples and videos on your page are from your printer, or are you still like, do you try other printers? Is there a difference? I mean,
Um, Everything on my page is something that I've printed, for sure. A lot of them are designs that someone else modeled and uploaded. And
okay.
so there's a website, and it's just like a trading forum. People just post things. It's called Thingiverse.com,
Okay.
and people just upload all kinds of stuff. And a lot of times they put it under a license where it says, do whatever you want with this. We don't care. And I'll take those, and I might tweak it a little bit. At the very least, I'm deciding, the color and how big is it going to be, and get it going.
Right. Okay. All right. So, but as far as do you, I mean, do you try other machine, other printers to see? Like, I don't know. I guess I'm just. It's like a
Yeah, not really. I mean,
try a different one. I don't. That's what I'm wondering. I'm
yeah,
the only.
so as far as printers go, there's not a huge difference in the different machines. The
Okay,
main differences are like reliability and like how big of a thing can it print, and then also like different kinds of materials.
right.
Um, there are two main different kinds. One actually uses like lasers in liquid plastic called like resin, and those are more expensive. They're messy as hell. They smell funny, but they can create very
Inhale.
detailed, intricate, tiny little parts. Um, but
Okay.
for me, I've been focusing on this kind. I mean, it's more affordable, it's easier, and it's more versatile with what kind of materials you can do.
Okay. All right. All right. So okay. You had mentioned something earlier. So before I get into the content on your page, you had mentioned something right at the very beginning when I was talking about summarizing, and then I
Mhm.
bookmarked that. Do you remember what it was?
Infinity mirror.
Okay. So what is this? What is this infinity mirror business?
So an infinity mirror is basically you have two pieces of glass. One's a mirror, and the other one's a two-way mirror, a see-through mirror. So, kind of like what people have on their back, sliding door or whatever, where like you can see out, but people can't really see
Oh,
in
okay.
because it's like a semi-transparent mirror. Okay, so you have those two pieces of glass, and you put lights in the middle. And so when you look into it, it's just like looking into a mirror. You turn the lights on, and then the lights kind of bounce back and forth. And with each pass, some of the light's allowed to escape. Most of it bounces back, and basically the effect is it looks like you're looking into an infinite portal of lights, and it just goes inward.
Oh my
Um, yeah,
gosh.
check it
So
out on YouTube or something. There's so much out there. So many crazy things people have made with infinity mirrors.
what was the reference to the mirror? What were you saying about that? About
That was one of the things I was trying to make. One of my little projects back when I was first getting into DIY electronics.
right, right.
Before this whole 3D printing thing pretty much took over.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So let me pull up. I'm going to pull up a little something from your page. Where did the idea come from for the earrings?
um,
I'll just share this with our viewers. So where did the idea come from?
so I had made that design and kind of discovered this pattern that I could create. With a combination of the multicolored filament and these like machine settings, and I was trying to figure out, what I could use it for.
Right.
What are the applications of this? Because it's really pretty, but what could you even do with it? And so the original version of that was about 5 inches wide, and it had the rim on it, and
Mhm.
so it's kind of like a little tray or a dish. And I was like, well, you can't really eat out of this. And no,
Right.
I put them online as is. You can still buy them. I have it marketed as like you could use it as wall art, or you could use it as a little rolling tray if you want to make your own little cigarettes or whatever.
Right.
But I figured it'd be really cool just to have this little trinket as earrings. I mean, it's pretty,
Yeah,
it's vibrant.
I think it's awesome. And I was sharing it with my team and they were just like, what in the world? It's just so signature too. And let me see, there was another, I mean, there's a lot here, but I'm trying to find some of the ones that really stood out. With the doodads and things you were mentioning, I'm trying to, oh yeah, what happened here? What happened here? Because it really looks, I mean, it looks great. I don't even know what it is. It just looks like a bunch of hard,
Uh-huh.
that just froze together. I don't, it's
Right. So with this
happened.
with
What
these printers, there's a lot that can go wrong, especially when you get some fairly affordable ones. At the you get a cheaper printer, and it's cheaper. It can do the same things, but it's going to be a lot harder. There's going to be a lot more you got to troubleshoot. A lot of parts that are going to go out. You got to troubleshoot and fix them and stuff. And one of the things that can happen is if the part comes loose from the base where it's printing, then it's trying to lay it on top, and that piece is just sitting there sliding around, and so it's just pushing out. They
I,
call it, a spaghetti print.
I
That's what it ends up as.
Okay, but it's still, it's really interesting.
Yeah, yeah, no. Sometimes I get a failed print, and at first I'm like, ah, damn it, and then I'm like, wait a minute, this is pretty cool. I mean, it's not what I was going for, but it looks pretty good.
That is. And I gather, is this because this is your avatar, but is this like your favorite piece?
One of them, yeah.
Yeah,
I
what?
just really like how it came out with the multicolor and everything, and it is a fractal design used to make
Oh,
a base. So
can you turn this on? Like, I'm imagining you can turn it like this, like on its
mhm.
back side or something, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's sitting on its side, and you're looking into it. It's like a vase.
Okay, okay, that's what I was thinking. And you have some. This is so neat. Like, how long did it take for this to actually print?
So those ones are pretty fast. Anything that's a vase that I do
Right.
is typically, it prints a little flat base, like like the bottom, and then from there it just spirals from the bottom to the top. And so because it doesn't have to fill anything in and make,
Mm,
a solid object, it's just
okay.
a shell. It's pretty fast. That one's about an hour.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's about 6 inches tall.
Oh, okay. Okay. It looked.
Whereas,
I'm envisioning it to be larger, but
to give
okay.
you an example, this little
Oh
guy.
gosh, I know. I saw that. I was like, you know
So
what?
this is only about 4 inches tall, and
Yeah.
that takes like 10 hours to print.
Oh, because it has so many details. It's
Yeah, I mean, that is just solid. It's not just a shell. Like it has an
solid.
interior plastic. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Goodness. And these the busts. I'm just calling the busts. Those are incredible too. I'm trying to find that picture where there are, yes, this one where there are several there.
Mhm.
So what do you use these? Are these like displayed for a purpose of, I mean, like, just showing what you're able to create? I guess I'm just like,
Yeah.
how do you use it? For me, I would imagine it actually being used in a gallery of like displaying all the plastic. Is that the how?
Um. So I mean, that photo was me just
Oh,
playing
they're
around with some
there.
friends.
Oh,
Um.
I just realized that they're, because the little Yoda, is that his name?
Mhm.
Is it Yoda?
Yeah, it's little baby Yoda.
Okay, because he's there. So then now I can understand the size of the bus. The bus
Yeah.
aren't okay. All right, so never mind. I was thinking that they're like, like this big or something.
Oh, yeah. I could print that big if I wanted to. That'd be a lot of work.
Okay, okay. See, and I was thinking of it more of like a sculpture is what I was calling it
Yeah.
more,
Yeah,
but
they're
it's
little statuette figurines. A lot of people buy them as vases, put some flowers coming out the top kind of thing.
right.
Um,
The, wait, which one? What are they buying? The bus?
hmm Here, I
Oh,
got an example
hold
I
up.
can show you real quick.
Oh, snap. Oh, they're hollow. I didn't even. Oh, that is awesome. I love those. And I think the colors, I think the colors just, I mean, well, that's my weakness, Corey. If you must know, I love a whole lot of colors. So,
Me
I,
too. So you
oh,
can see they're hollow at the top.
oh,
So you could put some flowers in there or something. This is my large size I have on Etsy. It's about 8 inches tall. But
oh,
yeah,
oh my
it's just a
goodness.
translucent one. It's kind of see through.
Okay, nice.
Hmm.
Well, do you have the desire to make, whether it's the bust or anything, but make larger pieces? And I
Yeah,
don't
definitely.
like a max. I mean, I'm sure somewhere in the equation is a max, but you know what I mean? Do you have a
Mhm.
vision of actually making some larger things? Anything like that?
Yeah. Yeah, and I have done a couple larger pieces. There's a lot of projects I've done where I was like, oh, I'm gonna wait to post this till I get some better photos, and then that just
Right.
never happens. So
Okay.
stuff like that. But I can go pretty big. I mean, in theory, there's no limit because I can always attach pieces, and print them one at a time. And I've done that quite a bit. I use a solvent that basically welds the plastic together. So there's
Cool.
no glue, there's no residual glue or anything. It's all just solid plastic in the end.
Oh,
Um, And so if you saw that piece I posted today, my most recent piece, that's about 15 inches wide. I mean, it's about like that. Um, I want to do some more like fractal art type pieces where I take like,
Talking about, or
yeah, yep, yeah, that's the one. Um, I want to have a design like that, but divide it into like 8 segments and print it all and combine it all in the end, and it can be like a 4 or 6 foot wide
oh my
kind of piece.
God.
Yeah.
That is wild. Okay, so now that I'm done talking about how overly fascinated I am, I'm going to look at, or I'm going to share this one too. This is a frame that you printed.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, it's about a 6 foot wide canvas from my good friend Logan.
And so this was actually, you know what? Okay, things are coming together for me now. So this is what essentially was printed and then attached together.
Yep. Yep. And that was before I had my bigger printer, so I had to print that in I was like 40 different parts. It was a huge undertaking. I mean, it took a few months to get it all together.
So where did that design come from? Since it had to be, since you had to print out so many different pieces, where was that? Like, well, I mean, of course, I'm trying to imagine this like one piece at a time, and this was a template that was available, and you just had to print it. Where did it?
So Logan had pretty much already finished the canvas, and then he designed, digitally designed the frame pattern. And then we had met a couple times and discussed it and came up with a plan where I would take that design and, using my 3D modeling software, I use a program called Blender, I took those designs and I imported them in, and then, just kind of raised it up. And then certain sections are taller than others, so it has some like depth and whatnot. And then basically just divided it into the biggest size I could fit on my printer and just cut it up and started pumping it out.
Is there, okay, through your journey of learning how to use this 3D printer, I know you had mentioned some places that you had to pay per hour, or X amount of hours, something like that. Where is the help to figure this out? Or has it been mainly you diving into it, doing your own research, or who else is out here that can help you? You had mentioned to me when we first connected, like there's YouTube videos on it and things like that. Has it mainly been you teaching yourself, or somebody?
University of Google, and there's a huge community of people out there. Not only just like sharing their designs, but also helping you troubleshoot when you say you hit print and it's not doing anything. You can not only get on and find people who have had similar problems. Typically, for most of the printers out there, there's a Facebook group or something of people who have that printer.
Right.
They ask each other questions and share stuff and help each other out. So there's plenty of resources out there online. I mean, if you got the time and patience, it's definitely a big learning curve. That's what I tell people, especially when they realize, like how much it costs. People always ask me like, so that's like $3,000, right? I'm like, no, my machine, my 2 smaller ones are $300 or less, brand new.
What?
My bigger one's like $500. And they're like, oh, well, I'm just gonna. Well, why isn't everyone else out here doing this? Why isn't this a much more common thing? I mean, it's the same price as an Xbox, but it's a learning curve, and I think a lot of people do get one, and they don't realize what they just got themselves into.
Okay,
these machines are finicky. Yeah, there's a lot that can go wrong, and just learning how to set up an object, even if you just download something, just learning how to get that into a format that the machine can read and accurately print. There's a lot, and it's going to be a big hobby of yours if you want to get one.
You have to dive into it and really be interested and intrigued. So like it sounds like not only do you have that strong interest in it, but you're willing to run across the problems and still like figure out how to work it out, because sometimes just people in general, it's like, oh, that sounds great, because they may see a finished result and then they're like, oh, I can just imagine all these things that I would create, but there has been consistency in educating yourself and working through the trials and everything like that. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. So, oh, okay. All right. I see you, Corey. I will say something else too on a side note. I like the way your hair looks. That's, I don't know.
Thank you.
Yeah, I see. Well, you said
I got cut like a month ago, but here we are in quarantine, so.
Right, because of course, I use the photos that I use, and I was like, oh, okay, his hair's got some. Okay, you got. All right, well, that's really awesome. Do you have some kind of like a passion project that you're working on right now that you want to share, or do you have like a particular vision of something you want to do that you want to share?
Sure. I'm currently working on.
They keep things all under wraps, but anything.
Yeah. No, I don't mind. I always post sneak peeks of stuff I'm working on. Especially, I usually keep it to my stories. Like here's a work in progress kind of thing. But here, let me grab this for you.
All right.
This is something I've been working on. I have these filaments. The plastic is translucent. It's see-through and it's really colorful. And so I've been trying to put together a design for. It's like a plastic 3D printed stained glass design. And so this is one of the prototypes here.
It's
like an Islamic geometric art design called penrose tiling. So that's what the design is. And my plan for this, as you can see, it's a pentagon. I want to print, I think it's 12 of these, and then I want to combine them, and it's going to be a big dodecahedron like globe, and it's going to be like a lampshade. And so I'm going to put a light in the middle, and it's going to hopefully push some of those colors, reflections on the walls around it and whatnot.
Gosh,
that's my big project I'm working on right now.
That is incredible. Just look, not even the finished product just yet. Just the fact that you had described that, like, wow, my mind went into some leaping dimensions here. Okay, somebody said that's sick. I agree with you. That is a sick idea. Okay, so
thank you.
That's very exciting. What inspired you? Like, you mentioned some things that are purely math phrases. Do you love math? Like, do you love calculating and, like those kind of...
So I've always been pretty good at math, especially, basic math, word problems, things of that nature. When you get up into the calculus, no, because I'm very much like I'm in tune with it. Like I can imagine it, and I can it's intuitive to me. But when it comes to like calculus and stuff, we're getting into a realm of things that humans can't imagine, because it's like, imaginary numbers and all this crazy math theory. I don't like to mess with any of that, especially being a software designer. Software does that stuff for me, kind of thing.
Right.
So,
okay.
I like geometry. I like geometric art. So, and that's how I was kind of got into this. Not only that though, I was looking for more designs I could do, but also I was trying to think of more ways I could get back into the electronic side of it and do some, programming with lights, LED lights, and make some really cool, like, interactive installation art using those skills. Because, like I said, that's how I got into the whole 3D printing thing in the first place, and it's just taken over. So I'm trying to get back into that and, get my soldering rod going and make some cool electronic stuff.
Well, you mentioned some of those terms from geometry, and that just really gauged my interest. I was like, wait a minute, like, oh my gosh, I'm just kind of hearing all of that coming together. And someone, that's my bro right there, he said it reminds him of glass window churches in Europe. That's
what I'm going for, coming up.
That's what you were kind of going for? Oh, Corey, my goodness, the people's champ. All right, so okay, so just as a creative in general, have you had any trials where maybe what you're aiming to do hasn't been supported in ways, and you had to go through it and just, pretty much stand in your truths. What kind of feedback do you have for people they're on their path and they want to do something maybe like what you're doing, or they're on their path and they want to do something creative, and maybe not everyone and their brother is doing it. But what kind of advice do you have for them? They want to be the artist, the creative, the whatever, but they're running across challenges.
Yeah. Definitely learning how to research online is very helpful, especially in this kind of, very technologically centered kind of medium. Another kind of pushback I've run into is some people, look at this kind of art and they're like, so you didn't make this, you set up a machine to make this. And I'm like, all right, well, hold on, let's talk about this a little bit.
I didn't even think of that angle. Yeah, wow.
There's a lot. I've had people, comment on my stuff like, so this is really cool looking, but I'm skeptical of the process. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? What are you skeptical about? Let's talk about it, because
okay.
And I think one of the things is people think about 3D printers, they think, oh, well, this is a replicator device. You set this on your table and you press go and it will copy an item for you. And it's not like that. It's not at all. It takes a lot of human thought and persistence and willpower and creativity to set this stuff up in the first place, let alone decide what to print and what color to print it in and all that stuff. So I mean, to that I would say, it helps to educate people. It helps to represent your art and your process, and make sure that they understand that this isn't just replicating. And there's just so much that goes into it that they don't understand.
Definitely, I've learned quite a bit, and so even having a respect for what you do, I still didn't know all that comes with it. So. I hadn't even thought about that idea of like, oh, the printer does the printer's doing it for you because it's just duplicating something, right? So then the question is, okay, what exactly have you contributed to this? And that's wild. I wouldn't have even thought of that angle. But there's all kinds of and I can't think of the artist. He's the guy who did the I don't know if you know these famous statues of these dogs that look like balloons. They look like the Tide balloon for carnivals. It looks like that. Oh man, I think I'm going to say the wrong name and I don't want to say it. But anyway, this particular artist hired other artists to paint for him. And it was this, controversy. It's like, oh, so you want to take all the credit. It's like, you know what he's doing? I think what he's doing is smart. Okay. He's still the creator, but he's having help. Like the project is so big, he can't just do it all alone, So it kind of just, made me think about that too, because you can have a particular vision and maybe you can't just create it with your own hands, and it's a tool, it's a tool to create whatever you have chosen it to create.
And a lot of it's just people don't understand there's a lot of creative decisions that I make along the process that are pretty subtle, some of them not so much, that definitely have an effect with the finished piece. I mean, like for example, the frame that I did, the 6 foot wide frame.
Yeah,
that was so like even down to there's a printer setting where you choose what pattern the tool moves in when it's laying the top layers, right? And so it's laying down the top layer, so it's laying down the part that everyone's going to see, and it can go in a zigzag, or it can go in concentric circles to fill it in, or it can just do lines, and little decisions like that is going to ultimately affect the texture of the paint as it sits on there. Because if I would have done, something like concentric, it would have just been not very noticeable texture at all. It would have been pretty filled in. Whereas I can do something like a zigzag, and there's going to be little microscopic gaps that's going to show when you brush, especially if you use like a dry brushing technique over the top. Things like that. Another thing is like the 3D printed lady, the woman bust. so that's made with like a 3-color filament, and it's like
About the colors, okay, and how that works.
yeah. And so the color that's a really expensive filament I use, and it's 3 colors that's striped down like vertically down the whole length of the plastic line, right? And so
Right.
as it's fed in, it melts a little bit, and it gets, yeah, it melts a little bit, and so you get yellow, red, and blue fusing a little bit, and that's how you get the purples and everything. And
Mm,
then what I'll do with a piece like that, when I want those kind of stripes, I want like all colors to be visible on every side. I'll take that reel and I'll unwind it, and I'll walk 20 feet across the room, and then I'll spin the reel, twist it, and then wind it back up again so that it's twisted, so that as it's sitting there laying down each layer,
my
it's
gosh.
the colors are being twisted so that as it goes up, different colors are visible on the front, with each layer. So, little things like that. It took me 5 minutes just to explain that. There's a bunch of things like that. People aren't going to understand.
Yeah.
It's just too technical.
Yeah.
People.
Yeah, I
It's
think
just a very specific niche kind of thing.
right, right. You have to be open. You have to be open. That's all that I can say, because if you're not open, then you're, creating all these blocks before you can accept that what you're talking about has gone into this piece. Some folks will just create their own story and just think they already know. They already know, although they have no
Mhm.
idea.
Yeah.
And sometimes, yeah, folks kind of get to that point. How has the journey been as far as family and friends supporting you in what you do?
Oh, I mean, they love it.
That's good. That's really helpful. It's helpful when you have that support.
hmm And it's unique enough that I have people messaging me all the time, like my friends are like, "Oh my God, could you just like print one of these for me?" And like,
Right,
"Oh,
right.
look at this idea." And I'm like the 3D printing guy, and then my circle of friends and stuff. But
I'm
it's
sure
fun.
if you were in my town, I'd be trying to hit you up. Like, oh, I wonder if you can do this. I wonder if you can do that. But okay, all right. I kind of figured that. You had mentioned the colors earlier. So what exactly, what does it look like? As far as, what is it, like a tube, a tube of like plastic? I don't know.
Here's a reel of filament.
Oh,
It's kind of a violet color. And the way I explain it is it just kind of looks like a weed eater wire or something. And it's just a bit of plastic. It has to be like the perfect thickness down to like 5 microns or whatever. It has to be super accurate. And that gets fed in through this little tube. And right at the very end of the process, it melts it, liquefies it, and kind of squirts it out a little bit and just draws a picture.
my gosh. Okay. That is a trip. I still need to look. I think I looked at one video. I gotta
Mhm.
see this again. Good
Mhm.
gracious. So, well, I want to thank you. We're gonna move on to the other parts of our interview with some Q&A and things like that too. So I want to thank you for all of your feedback that you just gave and answering some of my questions. So thank you, Corey, for that. So let's go ahead and dive into the stack of question marked cards here. Let's see what we got. All right, so we got 2 questions from Cassian. First question, you may have already answered. What materials have you used for 3D printing? So just in a summary, what materials, because they may have missed your answer for what you use.
I predominantly use a type of plastic called PLA, it's polylactic acid.
Yeah.
It's food safe, eco-friendly. It's made from cornstarch, and it's the most commonly used 3D printed filament. And there's a lot of variations. I've used the wood fill, which is like they mix like 40% wood fibers, basically sawdust, into the plastic. And so the end result is, it feels like wood. You can sand it and stain it like regular wood. Um,
Oh my God.
yeah, it's pretty cool. There's other stuff like that where they have additives, like they have like an iron powder that's mixed in, and so you can give it like a kind of rust patina, if you just put some water to it. But for the most part, yeah, just different variations of PLA like that. I've also used another kind of plastic called PETG, and it's a little more heat resistant, but it's just a pain in the ass to print with. I mean, it's really tricky to make it do what I want it to do. So,
Mm.
the main material. I get a lot of questions about like, yo, can you print me some like a metal part or whatever? Can you print me a metal gun, whatever? And I'm like, I mean, yeah, in theory, it's that's like a $10,000 printer that can deal with straight printing metal. So.
Oh my goodness gracious. Okay. Okay. Good question, Cassian. It looks like we have more questions coming in the queue here. All right. So, okay, one is from Jovec Art, and they're saying, let me see, the the time frame is overlapping. It says, would you use 3D pen to touch up? Would you use a 3D pen to touch up the imperfections? Okay. Thank you for your back art.
Yeah, that's a great question. I do have a 3D pen. I don't really use it to touch up so much because it's really hard to kind of emulate and copy the perfect lines that the machine is putting out. So unless it's like, just trying to fill in a gap that's going to end up getting painted over anyways, something like that, I typically don't. But what I do use it for is it's perfect for kind of using it like a little welder to attach pieces together. Like for example, I did like a bunch of these little designs, kind of like the earrings you saw, and I used my 3D pen to attach a little, like a pin back to the backs of them, so I can make little pins. Someone could put it on their hat or their shirt or whatever, and I was just giving those out at music festivals and stuff. So yeah, it's good for attaching pieces. Sometimes I also use it to help save a print, like if something's going wrong during the print. Like sometimes there'll be it's printing this object, but there's this overhang, and it's got to print this little tower just to have something for it to sit on, right? It's called a support piece, and the software generates these little supports by itself. Sometimes that piece falls over, and it's getting to the part where it needs something to set it on, and that piece blown away in the wind, basically. And so I'll use the 3D pen to like make my own little structure real quick so that the print won't be failed and I don't waste all that plastic. So it's a useful tool. You typically not going to see that in any of my finished stuff unless, like I said, it's hideable by combining parts or painting.
Right. Oh, I'm curious. I'm curious about that 3D pen. All right, let's go back to the stack of questions. What has been your greatest challenge as an artist from Alanosis? Greatest challenge would be, drum roll, what would that be?
Greatest challenge. That's a good one. I don't know. I have to think about that.
Okay. Well, in my mind, I was thinking, is it the learning process for all of
it? Yeah. Actually, now that you think about it, I mean, that's definitely it right there. It's just getting the printer to do what I want it to do every time. It's just still not every time. But it's better than when I first started out. I mean, I probably have like a 95% success rate at this point. But the first like 6 months, it was well below 50, and it was very frustrating.
Hey, process, right? It's the process for sure. And we got one more question. Thank you, Alanosis, for that question. Looks like we have a couple here. Okay, I'm going to start reading it. It's a pretty lengthy one. It says, what brand of 3D printers do you recommend, and what issues have you had with your 3D printer? So you have shared that. They may have missed it. But as far as the brand, what brand of 3D printers?
Yeah, so I use a brand called Anycubic. They create really, sturdy sound machines at a great price. There's a few other brands that are very competitive and in that price range that I would also recommend, even though I haven't personally used one. I've read enough to know that they're great. Creality 3D is one. Prusa is another one. They're a little more expensive, but super solid machines. As far as like what I'd recommend, though, it definitely depends on what you're planning on using 3D printing for.
Okay.
Depending on what your application is, there might be a better machine for the job. And yeah, it just depends on a lot of factors.
Okay. All right. Good question, Cassian. And I'm going to check the stack once again. Will you start a YouTube page for your 3D printing troubleshooting for beginners? Look at them. They're going to.
Ooh.
That's my bro right there. That's a good question. All right, Corey, what you got, Corey?
I've thought about doing that.
Okay.
it's a lot of time to like video editing is so time consuming, and I don't want to let stuff get in the way of my output.
You got the right one. I said I hate video editing 2 days ago, Corey. Can't stand it. It's like,
yeah.
yeah.
I might look into that though. At the very least, I mean, I always have a presence on like the Anycubic Facebook groups, and people always ask the questions on there. And usually, if there isn't a bunch of comments on the post yet, I'll drop in and give them my 2 cents on it.
Well, he says in the comments, "We need you, bro."
We need you. Well, hey, always feel free to send me a message too. I mean, I love helping people. People message me sometimes asking like what to get or what to do about this and that.
Good. Well, thank you for that. At least letting people know that you are approachable. They have questions about it, so that's good. That's valuable. All right, viewers, thank you for your questions. We truly appreciate it. So we're gonna move forward. I will say, Corey, do you have any questions for me?
Sure. So how long have you been doing this thing, this whole artist interview channel?
Artist interviews, the interviews themselves, I've been doing them since February this year.
Okay.
This year.
Nice. Well, you're doing a great job.
Oh, I appreciate it. And I guess, the thing is that the platform, this route with this platform is new, but it's definitely not something new to me. Like I'm used to this kind of interaction, whether it's on a camera, whether it's, performing in front of people, speaking to audiences, classrooms, teaching, so it's just, I've been doing it, but just not in this forum. And I love this forum.
Right.
Love it. I have such a good time.
It's great.
So yeah, good stuff. I know. Well, that's how I came across Touch Elemental. And did I share that with? I think I shared that with you about Elise Alexander. Okay, yeah, she put me on with to your page and some other artists too, and I'm just really glad she did because I was just like shocked. I was like, what's all of this? But yes, yeah. Thank you for your question. Appreciate it. And so we're gonna play a word game. This is how we're going to round out your interview. We're going to play a word game. We're going to gauge into the mind of Corey.
Okay.
Ready? I'll give you the rules. Are you ready?
Ready.
At least ready for the rules. Okay, so I'm going to give you 10 words, one at a time. Okay, not all at once. I'm going to give you 10 words, and you tell me the very first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
So you have to answer in like 2 to 3 seconds. And if you can't think of anything that you want to say or anything that comes to mind, then we're just going to move forward. Okay. No right or wrong answer. We just want to see what your response is going to be. Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. Your very first word, Corey. First word is nice.
I don't know.
You said next? You can't think of something nice?
Everything's nice. I don't know.
That's okay. All right, next word. Next word is sweet. Sweet.
My girlfriend's pretty sweet.
Aw, that's a good answer. That's a good answer. All right. Next word is young. Young.
High school.
Okay. Okay. All right. High school it is. Next word is love. Love.
I just immediately think of hearts.
Hearts. Okay. The emojis? Did you say?
Yeah. Yeah. I always thought it was funny how we ended up with like that shape, but like ain't no one got a heart that looks like that.
Very true. You're like, how did we end up with that anyway? Good question. Your next word is dollar. Dollar.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Okay. I'm with it. I'm with it. All right, Corey, you're on the roll here. Next word, you only got 4 after this one. Next word is geek. Geek.
Oh, it immediately makes me think of Geek Out. It's a festival that's supposed to go on. Definitely postponed now, but I'm
Right.
gonna be vending and doing some demos there. So I
And
think it's in
I,
October now.
I would love. Oh, it's moved to October.
Yeah, yeah, it's really cool. It's a part music festival, like weekend party, but it's also a part like Comic-Con, and people are going, dressing up as their favorite anime characters, and it's just like a really cool like
Uh,
hybrid kind of thing.
I would love to go because when I think geek, I think me personally. So that sounds really fun. All
Yeah,
right. Next word is drink. Drink.
cheers, y'all.
What is that?
It's a Miller Lite with
Oh,
one of my
oh, it's
koozies.
got a cozy.
You like that?
Oh, nice plug because I saw those cozies. Those are amazing. I love that. That's why I couldn't tell what it was. I said all I saw were the colors. I'm like, what's that? Looked like it was a tea or something. I was like, well, that's kind of a cool colored can. All
Yeah, I
right.
need to pick some taller ones for the tall boys here.
Yeah. Oh, snap. That's really cool. I'm so glad that you shared that actually. All right. Your next word is tolerate. Tolerate.
Something this culture needs, right? We need to be more tolerant of each other in these times.
Okay. You know what? Bravo. I like that. Very true. Your next word is dope. Dope.
I immediately think of weed and how I kind of have mixed feelings about the word dope because sometimes it's used
I know.
for much harder drugs that are not okay. But it made me think about weed.
I know. I see the angle you're coming from, so I on that one. And your last word is yummy. Yummy.
Oh man, sour gummy worms is what I'm craving right now.
Oh, okay. Those are good.
I have a sweet tooth all the
Those
time.
are really good. Oh gosh, what are the little Sour Patch Kids? Is that
Oh
what
yeah,
Sour Patch Kids? Those are
yep.
oh
Top tier snack right there.
I was like sour. Like I went years and years and years, didn't want it because it had sour in it, but then I tried one and I was like, these stories are good. All right. Okay, Corey, thank you for playing the word game. Do you have anybody that you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I want to shout out some of my artist friends. My buddy Logan is awesome painter. He does very really cool. Yeah, check him out. He does really cool sci-fi kind of landscapes. Yeah, I did the collab with him on that frame. Super sick artist. Also, my friend Gavin. Gavin Garunda. I'll leave a tag for you.
Yep.
He does really cool, super colorful. Actually, I have some prints here I can show you.
Ooh, let's see it. Let's see it.
This is one of Gavin's.
Oh my Lord. Oh.
Very colorful, elaborate. I'm hoping to do a collab with him in the near future.
Oh my gosh. Look, I'll be ready. I'll be ready to check it out.
Here's one of Logan's. This is more of a sci-fi-esque landscape.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh.
He's on another level.
And
And also, this one artist I found at a music festival I was at last year. Her Instagram is Emily the Funky Priestess.
whew,
Her stuff just evokes
Oh.
such deep, just thoughts and feelings for me.
Oh,
It's so
I
beautiful.
like that. It's like a whole, I mean, all I can say is a whole nother dimension. Whew.
Yeah, just the concepts that she has. I mean, it's just I like this one a lot too. Last
Oh.
one.
Talented. Oh gosh, that is gorgeous. Yes, please. Please send me the tags or tag them when I upload the IGTV video. Oh, for sure. Look, I'm all about it. I'm all about it. Okay. So, Corey, thank you so much for joining us, viewers. Peace from here to the Far East. I'm glad we got on, Corey.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This
So
was
glad.
cool.
Yes, I was like, because this has to happen.
Yeah.
Let us be great. All right. So peace. Okay. I will message you soon and I'm going to close out on this side. Okay. I'm going to remove you from this side.
All right.
Thank you so much for your time, Corey. Take care. All right, y'all. So that was an awesome and amazing interview with Corey, aka Tetra Elemental. I hope you got a lot from that. I mean, I learned so much. I feel like I grew 2 inches taller based on the information that I got, okay? And I'm so glad we definitely got the ball rolling. So make sure that you are following me. In case you're just coming through, you like to browse around and troll around. Make sure you're following me here at DreamAloud Art, and that you click the link in my bio and subscribe on YouTube so you can see these full artist interviews, y'all. Okay, there's a lot that you can pull from this. Folks are just having conversations and they want to share what they've experienced with you. All right, so peace from here to the far east, y'all. RTA stands for I can't remember. No, RTA stands for respect the artist. Okay, take care. Love y'all.